This would represent a shift in punishing a person for what they did do to what a person might do. And we think that is incredibly dangerous.
The Defense Association of Philadelphia is concerned about a new method of sentencing in Pennsylvania based on an offender's age, gender, and criminal history. The risk assessment tool would help determine a criminal sentence based on the likelihood an offender will strike again. Now, that was mandated back in 2010, and government agencies have been working for the last 8 years to draft a version that would work here in Pennsylvania. They're almost at that point. Some professionals, though, are questioning if it's even legal. Fox 43's Ashley Paul takes a deeper look at what this tool is and how it could impact the Commonwealth.
Risk assessment is an instrument that's used to try to identify offenders that are at high risk or low risk of reoffending.
It's that simple, says Mark Bergstrom, Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Commission on Sentencing. A tool soon to be implemented in Pennsylvania, aiming to give judges a closer look at an offender's situation so they can make more informed decisions when determining a sentence.
Maybe they're drug dependent or have mental health issues, and we believe that the information related to that could be really helpful to the court in deciding an appropriate sentence.
Over the last several years, the Commission has studied a sample of 200,000 cases to determine common factors among convicts who have reoffended. The results, according to Bergstrom, showed similarities in demographic and criminal history. With that information, they've created what's called a risk assessment tool. It considers a person's prior convictions and their age and gender to put them in a high-risk or low-risk category.
Science tells us that you can do certain things to identify people that are at greater risk. And we want to rely on our experience and on what the scientific community can tell us. We don't want to just rely on the gut. Let's let the experts inform our decisions.
Fran Chardo, Dauphin County District Attorney, calls this another tool in the toolbox, saying it could help keep the community safe.
The more information we have, the greater we can do at predicting risk. And this is all about predicting risk.
But it's the word predicting that has opponents like Mark Holden, Policy Director for the Defender Association of Philadelphia, concerned.
This would represent a shift in punishing a person for what they did do to what a person might do. And we think that is incredibly dangerous.
It even borders on unconstitutional, according to Troy H. Wilson, Philadelphia-based defense and civil rights attorney.
They don't have the benefit of due process. They don't have the benefit of a jury trial. They don't have the benefit of a trial. They don't have a benefit of a preliminary hearing or anything, or everything that's already been put into our system to protect against these kinds of potential abuses from happening or taking place.
Fairness, seemingly the center of the dispute over how to implement this mandated tool. We took that question to the common Pennsylvanian for some perspective.
That's like someone looking up my past to, convict you of something, and that has nothing to do, one has nothing to do with the other.
If you're disposed to doing something, the chances might be good that you'll do it again.
You're not the same as everybody else. Yeah. You don't have the same mind as everybody else.
I suppose there is that person with that predisposition to reoffend, but I don't know that we can judge that. People make mistakes.
Mistakes, Holden worries, would have everlasting effects when the risk assessment tool is implemented, in some cases for people who don't deserve it.
To say it's only going to be one factor in the decision of the judge, I think ignores the reality of how people would react to something like a label of high risk. That seems to raise alarm bells and make people afraid.
Alarming, perhaps, and it's a concern Bergstrom acknowledges. In fact, he agrees a sentence based on the risk assessment tool alone is not okay and would be basis for an appeal.
Why are you high risk? Well, maybe you're high risk because you're drug dependent. Maybe we should focus on that. But if you don't know that, just locking someone up because they're high risk is inappropriate. I mean, it doesn't answer the question. To make a decision about what is the right pathway to take in this case, and you can't do that based on a label.
Both Wilson and Holden say the most fair way to deal with this mandate is to repeal it. They voiced their concerns to the Commission on Sentencing during a series of public hearings held over the summer to discuss the tool. The Commission says after hearing from the public, they adjusted some of the language in the proposal and will be holding another round of public hearings in December. The public has until the end of November to submit their own proposals. Our local meeting will be held on December 7th at 2 o'clock at the Judicial Center in Harrisburg. The Commission says the earliest we might see this implemented is next summer. I'm Ashley Paul, Fox 43 News.